Call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bastos.
Here.
Commissioner Bauer.
Here.
Commissioner Gary.
Here.
Commissioner Lynn.
Here.
Commissioner Shimmons.
Here.
Commissioner Stefanski.
Here.
Commissioner Twardy. Here.
Hey, we're all here. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. Start of the 2015 year, and certainly on behalf of the City Commission, administration, we'd like to wish everyone a belated Happy New Year and certainly a prosperous New Year going forward. I would ask that those with cell phones in the audience, if they would please put them on vibrate or silence them, we would appreciate it. First item on the agenda are the Holiday Decoration Awards, and certainly Becky Bottrell leads us in this, but we had before we get to Becky, maybe just a quick note from Commissioner Ray Bauer on Light Up the Sioux, as long as we're talking about holiday decorations, to lead it off. Any report?
You know what, I was going to save that for the end.
Well, let's do it in the beginning,
Brought it up.
and we can do it at the end again.
I actually didn't get a final number for how many people went up in the tower, but I will say that by the 26th, so that was with 5 days left, they had already surpassed last year's total of 222 people. So possibly they may have doubled that. I don't know.
That's great.
But I know that it was more successful than last year on that front. I'm sure everyone saw what Tim did with the sleigh this year, putting it on the
Yes.
City Hall lawn. That was very nice. There's a little bit of vandalism with that, though, from what I understand. And I don't know how many of you had a chance to go up in the tower and take a look around. But it's a good view even when there's when it's not decorated. But we don't have a final tally though for because we have to wait for the heating bill to come in. I'm sure that it was less exorbitant than it was last year. Number one, because the tower wasn't open as long, and number two, because the temperatures weren't as cold. So
Great.
I would imagine that financially it was more successful than it was a year ago.
Great. Thank you for that report. Becky, you're on. I'll come and help you.
So each year, the city accepts nominations for the Christmas decoration program from the public. And then once a property receives recognition, they're not eligible again for 4 years, and properties, of course, must be within the city limits. So we really appreciate everyone taking the time to get out and decorate. I know we had a lot of snow, and everybody still got out there and decorated. That's outstanding. And I believe I went back quite a few years, and I think there's 5 tonight that have never been received recognition before. So I thought that was pretty neat, and they're quite outstanding. So if I call your name, if you want to come up and receive your certificate, and we have a small token of appreciation that the mayor is going to present with you. The first one we have is Gary Clow at 1702 Seymour Street. Oh, yeah, Cheryl made the little trinket holders, and she did a great job. They got the beauty of the depends on you with little part make a difference in our community. So it's supposed to come. The next one is Bill and Patricia Matson at 905 East 9th Avenue. Next one we have is Nicholas and Jessica Janetta at 912 Lizzie Street. Something must have happened. Everybody thought they were going to be able to make it tonight. Yeah, it's cold. They got home and decided, covered under a blanket, don't want to go back out. The next one we have is she just got that and did most of it all by herself, so quite impressive, is Ramona Lalone at 112 West 14th Avenue. So it's really outstanding. Congratulations. And then the next one we have is Bill and Suzanne Ayers at 204 Hudson Drive. And is that your son? Did he have Oh, he did. Well, his name should have been. Congratulations to you. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come out tonight, and I appreciate the fact that you made a difference in our community by getting out and lighting it up and then contributing to the Light Up the Sioux program. It really does make a difference and gives us a lot more Christmas feeling in the Sioux. So thanks again, and Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Becky, for your involvement. It continues to be great. The lights and the Light Up the Sioux, it was really impressive. My brother in Dallas, or in Houston, Texas, sent back a picture of the Sioux taken from the tower, and I was wondering where this green was coming from, and I tried to place where I was looking because I couldn't see City Hall, but it was straight down east of East Portage, without looking at City Hall, but it was Avery Square, and Tim Corsel and you see these green trees that are all lit up, and from the tower, it's tremendous. I mean, it really looked, I thought, where is that? But I figured it out eventually, but no, it really, from the tower, everything is just, the lights are unreal. It's a beautiful spot. So, great. Take care. Thanks, folks. Item number 2, public comment on scheduled agenda items. Any person may reserve time to speak on an agenda item not to exceed 3 minutes per person. Is there anyone in the audience like to comment on an agenda item? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to the consent agenda. City Clerk, please.
Under the consent agenda, A, minute approval. 1, approval of the minutes of the regular City Commission meeting of December 15th. Recommended action, approve the minutes of the regular City Commission meeting of December 15th, 2014. Item 2, acceptance of the minutes of the following boards and commissions. A, Airport Advisory Board of September 10th, October 17th, and November 12th, 2014. And Police Fire Pension Board of October 29th and November 12th, 2014. Recommended action, accept the minutes of the various boards and commissions. Item B, appointments and resignations. 1, reappointment to the Superior District Library Board. Recommended action, appoint Mark Dobiash to the Superior District Library Board for a term to expire on December 31st, 2017. Item C, communications from the Devil's Blue Line Club Incorporated. Authorization to sell liquor on city-owned property for the I-500 snowmobile race. Recommended action is authorize the sale of alcohol at the I-500 track on Thursday, February 5th, 2015, and Saturday, February 7th, 2015, for the annual I-500 race, subject to the rules of Michigan Liquor Control Commission and the City of Sault Ste. Marie. Item D, special orders of business. Schedule a public hearing on Special Assessment Roll SW-01-14. Sidewalk replacement, recommended action, schedule public hearing on Special Assessment Roll SW-01-14 for Monday, January 19th, 2015 City Commission meeting.
Is there a commissioner who would like something further explained on the consent agenda? Commissioner Twardy.
I so move that we approve the consent agenda.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Baspas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item 4, communications. A, from the Community Services Board, proposed summer and winter recreation user fees for 2015-2016.
Okay, thank you. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I have requested that our Parks and Recreation and Assistant Department of Public Works Director, Dan Wires, make a presentation regarding this subject matter.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission.
Evening.
Yearly, the Community Services Board has come together to recommend user fees to the City Commission, and I want to say I think it's been at least 2, if not 3 years now, where we've come to the City Commission earlier in the year, and just because of the meeting schedule, this could have been done like possibly in October or November. so that we can set our fees, so that people for next year for our camping fees, this sort of thing, we can get that information out there. So this did come to you to tonight's meeting, as well as the Community Services Board did their work for the upcoming winter fees for the 2015-16 fiscal year as well. And as my recommendation went to them, there were some things that we wanted to take a look at that we haven't taken a look at for quite some time. First off, I will give credit to a young lady at Lake Superior State University, Jessica Allen. She's a student there. I think she's a student athlete at Lake Superior State University, and she did a project and did a fee presentation to the Community Services Board. So she researched a lot of different communities, and some of the things that we find is not every community is the same. We don't have swimming pool fees. There's things that our community doesn't have that some of the other communities do have. So some of our comparisons are not the same with the same city. For instance, Sioux Seal Recreation Area, we were able to compare against Traverse City, the Hickory Hills, which is a municipal ski area, a little bit with Petoskey, but they really don't do too much, and we compared a little bit with even St. Ignace and some things of that nature. So the Community Services Board took that all under advisement, and they were looking at some increases in some areas and some not. And I have some figures to share with you if you need that. But one of the areas was some modest increase at Sioux Seal Recreation Area for the winter, as well as some of our time that in years past, I'm switching gears to the polar, where we would not rent much in the morning from 8 a.m. to say noon. So instead of not renting it, we could be renting it for maybe, we went to $60. And that generated some interest. So that is one of those areas where we were looking at where we can increase fees. Certainly not out to gouge anybody, but we're still well underneath even the other local ranks. So we're not at the cutting edge of setting the higher fees, but we're right in there with a lot of other communities our same size and where we can compare. So those are some of the things that I just wanted to review. If any of the commission has anything particular they'd like to address.
Just a question, I guess. Originally, it was just the camp fees for the most part, so they would go forward into the next summer. Is this the first time they've done the Seal Recreation
No,
fees?
Sioux Seal Recreation
Has
Area.
it been? Because I was going to say that we talk about that at budget time.
Yes.
Normally, and the commission chose not to raise fees this year that we're in. You know, and we talked each year we've discussed that. I think they remain the same. We've never increased those fees as far as I know, have we? Since the start.
I think Sioux Seal has been incrementally, and a lot of our fees get incrementally raised, and I don't have the full. Over the last 15 years, I know at some point we had under 5 were free.
Okay, so
And we were getting lots and lots and lots of van loads of people dropping off 5-year-olds and leaving. And so they're all free. And we're trying to manage this situation. So we went to a fee base. So at least all the children are paid $5. And some of the things that have come to us, well, first off, the commission, this is something I brought to the Community Service Board. So they did the winter fees earlier than, say, next month. So that could be tabled till budget time, but it is certainly something that I thought I'd bring that to your attention today as well. But that was what completed. But Sioux Seal, for instance, Chris Williams, who's our state lift inspector, comes to our facility and inspects it, and he marvels at how well our facility is, how well run it is, just by the way we maintain it. And he says that we're well below a lot of the other ski areas. So that started me into the area of let's take a look and see what other folks are doing. Truthfully, we are right into where a lot of other communities are. $5 for a child, or $5 for a child and $8 for an adult. St. Ignace charges the same, but they're only open 3 days a week.
I
They have a much better facility, had more runs, so we're comparable.
I just think it's important, and this is my feeling, and I think I speak for the commission, but they certainly can have a chance. Sioux Seal Recreation was primarily donation, and certainly Dennis Doherty and his crew has made the hill what it is. And that was mostly a volunteer effort. And we wanted to make it affordable for families in the Sioux especially, and if people came away, coming from other areas, coming into the Sioux, using it, that means they would stay and maybe eat lunch or eat dinner, stick around there and spend some money, so that we always wanted to make it affordable. And I know it's not a big increase when you look at $1 for children, but going from $5 to $6 means you have to have an extra $1, and then going from $90 for a family to $100, I mean, it just seems that if we can at all keep it, in my mind, what it is, we're busy, people love it, they come from all over the area to come to it. We don't want to make it something that people can't afford. And I think a lot of people that pay taxes use those hills. Maybe they're already paying a portion, and we've heard nothing but good things from that Seal Recreation area, and nothing against the folks that I think they did an excellent job of looking at all the information. The young lady from Lake State that did the work on a write-up on what other communities charge, I think is beneficial, letting us know where we're at. But I still think, as far as the Seal thing is concerned, I would like to see it stay what it is for next year. That's my preference, I guess. I just think it's something that's affordable, and people come to it, and they really enjoy coming to it. And $5 is still a lot of kids' allowance in a week, So it's still beneficial, I think, at that. Just a thought, Mr. Bauer.
Two things. Number one is that I'm really glad to hear you say that, because I was going to bring that up, and I'm glad that at least there's somebody here who feels the same way that I do. There was one other thing, and this is something, and first of all, Dan, I think, we all here feel that you do a great job, and this is a very difficult thing to do. One thing that we have discussed in the past, and what I would like to revisit, is the Malcolm fees for nonprofits for tournaments. You've got nonprofit organizations. They're trying to bring tournaments into town, try to bring these teams from the outside. These people are staying in the hotels. They're, hopefully eating. In my case, hopefully they're staying and having a beer afterwards. You know what I mean? But in all that we do when we deal with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, with Linda Hoth, and our initiatives that we have toward bringing people in from out of town, especially in the summertime, I would like to see us eliminate, we can keep the businesses and organizations and even the individual fees, but the nonprofit tournament fees, I would like to, and that would be the same as last year. However, I think that last year it was new, or at least it's fairly, it's new recently, within the past couple of years, and I would like to see us strike that also from the fee schedule. And the amount that we would lose in that would be somewhat negligible. There's not that many nonprofit organizations having tournaments coming.
I guess is what I would ask is that, this is a lot of work, but we normally take this up at our budget sessions, which are going to be here in March or April, right? And we go through the budget and we look at fees, page by page type of thing, and that's where a lot of the discussion is. But if we need to act tonight because of campers, which we have I don't think anybody has a problem with the fees that are generated there. Maybe the other ones, does that create a problem for you?
No, obviously, it's something that's all commission driven, and certainly you have a lot of different fees that impact residents and non-residents as well. And if the commission holds off or tables it, we'll do our best to communicate that to the folks as well. For instance, in your summer fees also, on the Arsborn Campground, we're already reserving people next year already. This is how quickly this starts to unfold for us, even though it's January 5th. So these are some of the items that do come to you. So it certainly is.
I mean, if we need to move because of Ani Osborne Campground to put a fee on going next year, that's something I think the commission would look at. Is that? But to look at the whole thing, I think we ought to wait till maybe the budgets. We got a couple people want to speak, so let's go to Commissioner Spansky and then.
Well, I look at the fees for the Sioux Seal Recreation Center. I've had people travel from outside the area and say they cannot believe how inexpensive it is to use the facility and to have such a great facility. And we do have to fund keeping that equipment up and running. do have to have staff there to make sure that the tubing run is maintained in a safe way. I don't have a problem with it. I think a lot of kids these days have more money in their wallet than I do. Certainly believe that to be very true. Also with the Malcolm Field, that has been a battle for about 6 years since I've been on the Community Services Board. Finally get some sort of agreement from that board and from the users. I think we shouldn't mess with it now that it's established. That has been nothing but an ugly, ugly battle. And I think people are starting to get used to accepting the fees, and I really don't want to see the Community Services Board go back down that road again. It took 7 years to do that. I think it was going on well before I was even on that board. And I just hate to see us go back down that track and start playing around with the fees that are set up.
Thank you. Commissioner Jones.
I personally don't think that the fee increases are that significant. And I agree with what Commissioner Stefanski has said, in that there is a cost to the city for these programs, and to offer, the ski hill or the toboggan hill. The puller has a cost associated with that. I think that, the community, those who use it, should be contributing to actually having it available to the community. And the other thing is, I just don't see where there should be a problem with adopting this tonight. The Community Services Board has done what we have asked them to do. That's part of their duty. And they have used due diligence to go through this process. And whether it's adopted tonight as presented or with changes, or if it's adopted in March when we are actually working on the budget, really, what difference does it make? Let's do it and get this done. Then they'll have good figures to work with when they create the budget.
Thank you. Commissioner Twardy.
Thank you. Talking about the Sioux Seal price increases, I don't really see much of an issue with going from $5 to $6 for the child. I mean, in fact, my son Dylan figured it out by getting the seasonal pass. Even if you bump it up to $100, that he's actually, I'm saving, or he's saving me $55 a year, something like that, by getting him the season pass. So you're talking about like pennies, right, by bumping from 5 to 6. I'm wondering if maybe we could keep the adult at 8, because then when you're talking about a mother that might want to take, or a father that wants to take their 3 little kids there, then you're talking about quite a bit more money, and then if they eat. But I think going from $5 to $6 for a child is, still don't see a problem with paying for $100 a year for a seasonal pass.
And Commissioner, that's a good point, and a lot of the commissioners do bring up a good point. And just to help give a little more factual information, in your fee schedule, you also have, and we've been doing this for quite some time, is every Tuesday is 2 for Tuesday. And 2 for Tuesday is half price. So if it's $5 or $6, it'd be half, would be $3 or $2.50. So every Tuesday is 2 for Tuesday, and that's been really utilized by a lot of the local families. Also, just as part of the package there too, is we do have a free area. So for some of the families, there's always been a traditional free area. It's not served by a lift or anything of that sort. So it does make it more complete. Just want to make sure the commissioners know that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Gary.
I think I'd just chime in too. We use all the center pretty heavily, and I don't think that bumping it by $1 or changes is out of line and giving service that we have. I know that I spent some time with last time we had the mosquito. The prices are probably higher over there. I think that these are recreational facilities, and I think that we've done a good job maintaining them. We have staff that we have deployed. I think we need to do it pretty efficient manner. I wouldn't have a problem with these increases of modifications.
Commissioner Stefanski.
So moved the City Commission approve the summer and winter recreation user fees scheduled for the fiscal year 2015 and 2016 as presented.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any further discussion? Commissioner Bauer.
Yeah, and Yeah, I hate to ask a stupid question of the commission, because evidently we have people here who are in favor of increasing the Sioux Seal by $1. Does that also mean that there's not a single person here who thinks that we would be well served by eliminating the not-for-profit tournament fee on Malcolm Field?
Maybe some history on the not-for-profit tournament fee. I only read in the paper some of the problems that we have with one of the organizers of I think you're speaking of the one large tournament that the people pay a fee to come to I personally don't have a problem with people paying a fee to come to as part of the overall tournament. But no, I personally don't have a problem with people paying fees to come to tournaments. We're all involved in softball. We paid tournament fees wherever you go. It's just, and people still spend the money. They expect that, I think. That's my interpretation. That's how I feel about it. It's not a large fee. I think it's, what, $50? $100?
$75.
Yeah, I mean, and you get 20 adults normally, or 15 adults, or I mean, it's not. Yeah, that's not. I have a problem with the seal recreation fees, so I think we ought to maintain them as they are. We're ready. Any other questions, comments? We have a motion and support to approve the fees as they are. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bauer?
No.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Commissioner Torty?
Yes.
Mayor Bostos?
No. Motion carried. Thank you.
The next item under communications is from the Historic Structures Management Committee, proposed summer user fees for 2015-2016.
Thank you. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. The Historic Structures Management Committee, at its regular meeting held on Tuesday, December 16, 2014, reviewed, discussed, and approved the 2015 user fee schedule for admission to the historic homes on Water Street. It should be noted that there are no increases to the existing fee schedule being proposed at this time by either the Historic Structures Management Committee or by the administration. It should also be noted that these fees were first implemented by the City Commission at its April 15, 2013 regular meeting, and that the revenues received are reinvested in the operation of these historic structures. As noted within the included materials, the fee for adults age 18 and over would remain constant at $3. The fee for children between the ages of 6 and 17 would remain constant at $2, and there would be no fee for children that are 5 years in age or less. The family fee would remain constant at $8, and the fee for a season pass would remain constant at $15. Accordingly, I am recommending that the City Commission approve the fee schedule for admission to the historic homes on Water Street for the 2015 operating season as presented with no increases.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Shimmons.
I move that the City Commission approve the fee schedule for admission to the historic homes on Water Street for the 2015 operating season as presented.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Easy one. No increases. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Voice same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, Dan. Thank you very much. We are now into the City Manager's Report, item number 5.
Thank you, Mayor. Item A under the City Manager's Report would provide for the award of the purchase of a spiral sledge heat exchanger for the wastewater treatment plant. As outlined within the memorandum, the replacement heat exchanger for the wastewater treatment plant was included in the current fiscal year budget. The heat exchanger is an essential part of the wastewater treatment process in that it heats the sludge in the primary digester of the plant to a temperature of about 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the ideal temperature for anaerobic bacteria to break down raw sludge into stable biosolids. This is a scheduled replacement of a piece of equipment at the end of its lifespan and is critical to plant operations. As a heat exchanger is specifically engineered for a particular application, specifications identical to the plant's existing unit were prepared. It is a requirement that the new unit have the exact same capacity, size, and connection locations so it can be connected to the complex piping that comprises the plant. A request for proposals was placed in the Evening News and on the city website using these specific specifications that are required to maintain seamless plant operations. The city also contacted a number of wastewater supply companies to inform them of the available bid. 2 sealed bids for the purchase of this item were opened on December 29th, with one bid being received from Alpha Laval of Richmond, Virginia, in the amount of $36,100, and a second bid being received from Process Equipment Solutions of Bay City in the amount of $32,000. After reviewing both bids, it was determined that the purchase that would best serve the plant and ultimately the community would be the purchase of the exchanger from the Process Equipment Solutions of Bay City in the amount of $32,000. As additional bonus, this company will deliver the unit 2 months quicker than the Virginia-based company. Accordingly, I am recommending that the City Commission approve the purchase of this item from Process Equipment Solutions of Bay City, Michigan in the amount of $32,000, as that company was the low bidder meeting required specifications.
Thank you. Commissioner Lynn?
Your Honor, I so move we approve the city manager's recommendation.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosfus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yep.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item B, under the city manager's report, would provide authorization to the administration to reclassify the city appraiser position to the deputy assessor position. As commissioners are aware, current city appraiser Glenda King has informed the administration that she intends to retire by the end of March 2015. During the course of the past 2 months, the administration has been conducting an extensive review of the position of appraiser, its placement within the administrative structure of the city government, and the job description established for the execution of the work duties inherent to this position. Assessor Full is here tonight to answer any questions regarding the subject matter, but as she has noted in her own included materials, the existing job description has become outdated and no longer reflects the operational demands or professional expectations that are so critical to the effective operation of an efficient assessing department. The educational requirements for assessing professionals has evolved significantly over the last 20 years, and the administration is hoping that by restructuring this as a deputy assessor position, that we will be able to recruit very well qualified candidates that are not only skilled in administering the complex tax laws that are inherent to the state of Michigan, but also serve citizens in a pragmatic, reasonable manner, and also operate with diplomacy and tact in difficult situations that can arrive to the department's doorstep. Following an extensive review of this position, the need for the assessing department to have appropriate succession planning and operational redundancy, current educational demands within the field, and comparable levels of compensation for similarly structured and credentialed posts throughout the state of Michigan, it is my intent as city manager to restructure the appraiser position into the deputy assessor position with the hope that we will be able to recruit an individual with level 2 Michigan certified assessing officer credentials. If restructured in this manner, the deputy assessor position would be either classified on grade B or grade C of the included administrative staff salary schedule. The most prominent benefits of reclassifying this position would be to further emphasize that the administration expects an individual assuming this position to be able to pursue the educational requirements that would be necessary for them to step into the role of assessor one day, which is a level 3 Michigan Advanced Assessing Officer. In closing, the administration would like to thank Ms. King for her approximately 20 years of service to the community. During my tenure as city manager, I have found her to be a reliable, professional, and intelligent individual, and the administration compliments her on her achievements. Accordingly, I am requesting that the City Commission accept the administration's actions to restructure the appraiser position into a deputy assessor position.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Tuorty?
I move that the City Commission accept the administration's actions to restructure the appraiser position into a deputy assessor position.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Commissioner Bauer?
Yeah, I just have one question of to move forward. As I see here that if we cannot recruit an individual with level 2 certification, et cetera, and I'm just wondering, how many of these people do you see floating around out there? How hard is it going to be to get a qualified person for this position?
Tina, could you come to the mic? please. Thank you.
There isn't a whole lot of actual active assessors. A lot of them are technicians and they're just clerical. But the level 2, which is when they're now the certified assessor, there are a few. I've been kind of like asking around to see if anybody I could, get to come into the city to work as a deputy assessor. There are a few, but they're going to be coming in from Lower Michigan most likely.
Thanks. Any other questions? Roll call, please. Thank you.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yeah.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bospas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item C under the city manager's report would provide for the adoption of the 2015 to 2021 six-year capital improvement plan. I have requested that our community development director, Linda DeSisto, make a presentation regarding the subject matter.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission.
Evening.
You were sent before Christmas.
Yes.
My Christmas present to you, by the way.
Hey, we appreciate that.
Move to accept the report placed on file.
You received the 2015-2021 draft staff recommended capital improvement plan. And this is our third six-year capital improvement plan that facilitated by the engineering department, but is provided with input from many sources, and hopefully in the future even more public input. But the process of developing the capital improvement plan starts in September. The Planning Commission kicked off the process by advertising and holding a public input session so that the public could, the intent is for the public to come and comment on the previous plan and to request projects be included in the future capital improvement plan. This was the second year we did this with the Planning Commission, and we did not receive any public comment, but in the future, as this catches on, we hope that we will get public comment at the Planning Commission level. Then city staff, department directors submit their six-year capital plan by November, and the capital improvement committee meets and ranks the projects, all 6 years of projects, and with the goal that the plan will provide you with planning as a planning tool for the upcoming budget and for a longer outlook on major capital expenditures to see where we're going to be needing, what kind of revenues we're going to be needing for the next 6 years. So each year the plan is updated. Some projects may be reprioritized in their importance depending on what has happened in the past. New projects are added based on new regulations, condition of infrastructure, and community requests. We are taking community input on an ongoing basis. This year we had 2 requests to be submitted in the capital improvement plan. Those are the handicapped accessible, or the handicapped audible traffic signals is one that shows up in here now as because of a citizen request, and the other one is the implementation of traffic calming along Easter Day, another citizen requests through LSSU. So these are projects that now are captured in the capital improvement plan, and that way we can track them and prioritize them and budget as necessary. One thing I would like to point out and read for you and the public is how we prioritize projects. It's a numbered system, 4 through 1, 4 being highest, 1 being lowest priority. And the department who submits the project actually puts the priority number on it. Then when the committee meets to rank, the committee puts a priority number. And this year we did something different too, in that the city manager, previously the city manager participated with the committee on ranking projects. And this year we had the city manager provide his own ranking. So the city manager's ranking is in the spreadsheets in the front of the book. The rankings are based on essential, desirable, or acceptable or deferrable projects. And essential is considered urgent, high priority projects that should be done if at all possible. Projects that require that are required to complete major public improvements, to address an emergency or remedy a condition dangerous to public health, welfare, and safety. These projects that would maintain compliance with or remedy non-compliance with regulatory requirements and or meet critically needed community programs. These projects should be, if at all possible, budgeted during the year that they come up. Priority 3 would be a high priority project that should be done if funding is available. They benefit the project, the community, and the validity has been identified and timing has been established. A priority 2 is acceptable as a worthwhile project, should be considered if funding is available. Project would be adequately planned but not absolutely required, and if we didn't have the funding, it would be a project that should be deferred to subsequent year. And priority 1 is deferrable, which is a low priority project. It's desirable but not essential and can be postponed without detriment to present services. So that's how we rank the projects. The attempt also is to make sure that we are putting projects forward in the acceptable year that meets our operations objectives, and which is very important is that we can actually execute the project if we put it in any given year. So to give a balance of the projects that are presented. So with that, I present the 2015-2021 capital improvement plan to you for your consideration.
Thank you. City Manager, comments?
Thank you, Mayor. Just like to compliment Linda DeSista as well as Angie Patterson as well, and the other department heads that have had such a role in this. As my tenure as a public manager, I've seen many of these plans, and this is by far the most professional, most well put together document that I've seen at this time.
Great. This is the third year, right? Yeah. So this is a working document that continues to evolve as funding. Now, the projects in here, as we understand it, aren't money related. It's the importance, and then if the funding comes through, then things happen.
It's
thing,
their
right?
importance with the cost estimate included, and with the idea that we also should be trying to look towards what our regular revenue stream is as to how we're going to fund particular projects. But it is not the budget. It's just a planning tool that if you approve that the first year projects would be the basis for capital outlay considerations in the upcoming budget.
Yes, we would see in the budget process, we would see the number 4 priorities listed for the most part, and then the rest would follow along as funding became available.
You'll see all the projects that are submitted for the first year for the 2015-2016 fiscal year, all of them, regardless of how they're ranked, prioritized, and then you will consider whether or not you're able to fund.
Yeah. Any questions, Linda DeSista? Thank you. Great job again. Commissioner Bauer.
So moved that the commission adopt the 6-year capital improvement plan for 2015 through 2021.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any additional comments? Roll call, please. Oh, Commissioner Schimmers.
Just wanted to compliment also the staff. I've done a 5-year plan. Every year we had to do that, and it is a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. So, well done.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosfus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item D under the city manager's report would provide for the approval of a written City of Sault Ste. Marie Freedom of Information Act request policy and procedure. House Bill 4001, as recently adopted by the State of Michigan Legislature, will amend the provisions of the Freedom of Information Act concerning fees charged by public bodies for public records, civil actions brought under the Act, and the receipt and denial of requests, and would also add provisions allowing a person to appeal a public body or bring a civil action if he or she believed that a fee was unreasonable. According to City Attorney Steve Pinello, the passage of House Bill 4001 requires public bodies to adopt a written Freedom of Information Act policy. As a result of this legislative amendment change, and to encourage transparency when it comes to the release of public records, I'm recommending the adoption of the presented Freedom of Information Act request policy and procedure for the City of Sault Ste. Marie. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Stefanski.
So moved, the city commission approve the city manager's recommendation.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosfus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item E, under the city manager's report, would provide approval of amendments to the City of Sault Ste. Marie Personnel Policy Handbook. As commissioners are aware, action was taken during the December 2nd, 2013 regular meeting of the City Commission to formally approve the adoption and use of the City of Sault Ste. Marie Personnel Policy Handbook. At the time, the handbook had been compiled in an effort to provide a central resource regarding the personnel policies of the city to its employees, department heads, the City Commission, and the public, as well as any other interested party. In accordance with the annual review provision of the handbook, the administration is hereby presenting the following proposed changes to this document. The term Human Resources Director would be changed to Human Resources Generalist to reflect the recent restructuring of this position. In addition, the healthcare threshold figures on page 43 would be updated to reflect those figures recently established by the City Commission. As well, the titles of those positions for which employees must take the oath of office have been updated on page 6 of the handbook. As well, the amount that is paid to individual employees that opt out of individual health care coverage has been corrected to $450 to correct a misprint within the handbook. And finally, the total number of visits that employees are eligible to use under the city's Employee Assistance Program at no cost has been updated from 5 to 8 on page 45 of the handbook to reflect action taken by the City Commission to approve a new EAP agreement with North Star Employee Assistance. In addition to these substantive changes, a number of grammatical and organizational changes that do not substantially alter the document are being proposed, and it should be emphasized that the handbook establishes a process whereby employees have an opportunity to comment on the proposed changes. Assuming the City Commission holds a first reading of these proposed changes tonight, it would be reintroduced at the January 19th, 2015 regular meeting for final approval. Accordingly, I'm recommending that the City Commission approve a first reading of these proposed changes to the City of Sault Ste. Marie Personnel Policy Handbook. Thank you, Mayor.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Gary.
I was so moved that we approve a first reading of the City of Sault Ste. Marie Personnel Policy Handbook as amended to include those modifications presented by the administration.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosfus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. This now moves us into the status report section of the agenda. And under item A, 2014 operations for the Ani Osborne Campground, I've again requested that Dan Wires grace our presence with an update regarding the operation of the campgrounds.
Hello again, Mayor and Commission.
Yes.
The Ani Osborne Campground. Mr. and Mrs. Roger Stevenson were thinking of being here. They didn't quite make it here tonight, but I would like to report that we had another successful year. I'm sure you've all had a chance to take a look at the the material that was provided to you. And last year being our record year, this year we're $629.20 off of our record year last year. So this is our second best year that we've had that I'm aware of. So it is a tribute to the things that we do and Mr. and Mrs. Stevenson. Some of the things that we're doing, even as of today, it's in a very good way. Today is a bit of a wild day. Since after the first of the year, we're taking reservations. Already, we're starting to take them for this upcoming season. And what we did last year is we've transferred the telephone number so that people call the Ani Osborne Campground. It rings out of their home now. So there's no answering machine, there's no lag, there's no delay. People can reserve right over the phone with their credit card. They get a receipt, boom, boom, boom. We've not done that. Since we've started doing that a few years back, we're starting to see these changes so that they're all good. So the people can literally call, they can email, and they can also do the regular mail. So the reservations, I think, has been a big key to our operations at the Ani Osborne Campground. If you've all had a chance to go through Mr. Stevenson's report, talks about some of the things that happened to him, one of our washers going down, but for the most part, with the amount of people and camper nights that we do get very few complaints. And of the complaints that we do get, we deal with them straight up, right on, and we get right after it, and they've done very, very well with dealing with complaints. I mean, we do get from restrooms that need to be kept up, to a light bulb might be out, something of that nature. We are working towards the future. I know we're going to be talking with our engineer, Tim Corsel, as well as our engineering department, and Mr. Stevenson for the electrical project to move forward for the West Side electrical project. That's been a few years. I know I've reported that, and I believe that this coming year, 2015, that will get completed. There is a huge demand for the campground, and one of the things that I have put together, I do have a 10-year time series study for you, and it goes back to 2005, and some of the history with the revenue, and as you can see with the amount of camper nights and the revenue, we're doing quite well at the campground. Going forward this coming year, I mentioned the electrical upgrade project, but also we are looking at, Mr. Stevenson mentions about our locks, and last year we did put in for some new locks, push button locks, security locks for the folks to get into the showers and into the restrooms, and unfortunately we had one lady who did get locked in because the lock broke, and I don't want that to happen again. So we have already started to replace those. 2 of them have been replaced. We ran out of time. We were going to be replacing 2 more of those by this spring, and we may be looking to budget for a few more. They're a bit costly, but they work. Campers really love them. It's a push-button lock, and they can get in and they get the code. So we're going to be looking to upgrade that, and obviously it's in the situation in the park where it's at is we do have a water issue where we're looking at correcting some of our drainage, and we've been pecking away at that a little bit as time goes on, and also putting some more gravel down. It just seems like we put some gravel down for the pads for the campers. That's just an ongoing maintenance issue. But we'll keep looking at it and fixing that as we go. I would open up for any questions that the commission may have.
Yes, just a comment. Another great year, and you look at 2 years ago was the 3 rain events that we had that were 3 inches in duration. 3 inches each one, and that's not been done here ever that we can remember. And we still set the record with the amount of camper nights. And again, last year wasn't a great summer, but it was a good summer. But inclement weather doesn't seem to bother people camping. They want to be close to the boats, and you can't get any closer to the freighters than right there. So people keep coming back. If gasoline prices stay down, I would think it could be another banner year. Things are looking good, and we certainly thank the managers of the campground. We've got a number of families that tend to bid on that and continue to do an exceptional job, and we here in the commission certainly appreciate their efforts to continue to provide a quality campground for stayers and visitors in the community.
And we have, this would be this upcoming year would be the third and final year of this agreement with the Stevensons. So, as the recommendation goes, would recommend them for one more year, and then this will go back out to bid.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions? Commissioner Simmons.
I'm wondering if there's been any consideration given to, rather than continuing with the gravel, putting some cement in there for a base, maybe doing so many a year until they're all done.
It's not something that we budgeted for or looked at, but it is something that we could take a look at, cost those out, price those out, whether it be a concrete or asphalt. We do have an asphalt driveway that goes around the facility, so we could look at that and possibly bring that back to the commission at budget time to consider.
Sure.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bauer.
I was just wondering, and maybe it was in the report, but I didn't see it anywhere. Do we know what percentage of these camper nights are pre-reserved as opposed to walk-ups?
I do not have that information. That is something that I could ask them. I don't know as if we've ever had that reported to us.
I wouldn't mind seeing that, just because when you look at the amount of reservations as opposed to walk-ups, then you can possibly see what effect the weather plays on the success of the campground overall. You know what I mean?
Any other comments or questions? Thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. Yeah, I know you're busy.
Thank you.
And your crews are busy. I mean, they're, yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Item B, under the status report section of the agenda, pertains to the 2015 municipal election schedule, on which our Assistant City Manager Clerk, Robin Troyer, will be providing an update.
Thank you. I just wanted to give an update. This is the election year for the municipal positions. We have the 4-year terms of Commissioner Gary, Commissioner Stefanski, and Commissioner Shimmons that will expire in November, in addition to the 2-year term of Mayor Vasquez. So I wanted to get out the dates early in case anybody's interested in running for commission or mayor. The prospective dates are, the key dates are April 14th to the 21st. Candidates who are interested need to file a declaration of intent and affidavit, and they need to be filed by 4 p.m. on that April 21st. The next deadline after you've declared your intent to run is May 12th, when the nominating petitions are due by 4 p.m. on that date, and there's 50 signatures on a nominating petition that's required to qualify for running as a candidate. The election dates, the primary election is August 4th, and we will only have a primary if we have more than 2 candidates running for mayor, or more than 6 candidates running for city commissioner. So if we don't have 2 or 6, we won't have a primary in August. And so then the next date for the general election will be November 3rd in November. So anybody who's interested in running for one of those seats can stop by the city clerk's office. We have a candidate packet that kind of outlines the process, and we can answer any questions for anybody that is interested in running.
And those dates get closer, there'll be more information,
Absolutely.
continued information as we go forward. Any comments or questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. That concludes the status report section of the agenda, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Item number 7, matters presented by the public. Is there anyone in the audience like to make a comment at this time? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to the City Commission. Commissioner Tuarte.
Thank you. 2 things. Number one, I just want to say thank you to Jim and Dan. It seems like the sidewalks are moving in the right direction. I'm very excited that it seems like we are really being able to walk around town, and I know that it's only going to continue to get better. I do love those little Wally-looking things that are out at like 6 o'clock in the morning or 5:30 in the morning. My son thinks they look like they're from the movie Wally also. Pretty cute. But thank you for that. So I love being able to walk on the sidewalks. Number 2, thank you for opening the Sioux Seal Recreation Area. As you know, my son is a huge snowboarder, and all of his buds, he had to be first to know, so Oliver was right hot on the phone so that he could be the one to let all the kids know. I'm also hearing some great opportunities that might be coming out of the Sioux Seal Recreation Area, so maybe like some skiing lessons, snowboarding lessons, I'm hearing that, and then possibly like organization of maybe some little competitions to keep the kids involved and keep them going, keep them busy. So thank you very much for that.
Anyone else? Commissioner Lynn?
Your Honor, I would so move to adjourn this meeting.
Support.
Been moved, supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Go ahead first, next.
Yep.
Yeah, Robin, I'm sorry, I know exactly where I'm sitting right now.
Oh, yours is different.
That's okay. When you go home, you can pull it out and read it.
There.
Right there.
And then you sign out.
Okay,
Here.
hit this right.
Yeah, you could hit that too.
When,
Okay, shut down, right? Yeah. Oh, shoot, that's easy. I mean, oh, shoot, that's easy.
guess what? You can get
Hope that was true.
Seriously.
My wife's birthday today, but